And ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not mistaken, I think the man of the hour has arrived with us. T-Boz, how you doing this morning?
I just arrived. I'm getting out of my limo jog. I'm running up. So, hang on, excuse me, just coming through the crowd. And I am up on the stage. Good morning. I say that, good morning, because a good friend of mine, she's had a wonderful life, but it hasn't always been easy. But every time you call her, it could be a snowstorm, it doesn't matter. She always answers the phone, good morning, like a song. So I won't say who she is, but her boyfriend Stan is lucky to have that wonderful voice every morning. Good morning. So good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you for carving out time in your busy day to come into the classroom. Come on in. Plenty of seats. Come on in to spend time with me. Jock and I appreciate it. And like I said, carving time in your busy day to get re-energized, to get rejuvenated, to get back on course. Life isn't easy, right? And life is messy. That's a book that Veronica's reading. And so it's good to come into the classroom once a week and then get re-energized and rejuvenated to go about the day. So let's do our exercise. We haven't done it in a while. Haven't seen everybody. Hang on a minute. What's the problem? Oh, that's the service dog? Yeah. They can come in. Come on. Oh, hi, Mitt. What's your name? Muriel. Hi, Muriel. What's the dog's name? Ginger. All right, why don't you guys sit on the couch right over here? Dave, could you get a water dish down the hall in the closet? Yeah, for the dog. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us, ma'am. Yes, service dogs are allowed. So why don't we do our exercise? Everybody stand up, and we're going to do the jiggle. Ready? Oh, the new people aren't doing it, Jock. Come on, buddy. Stand up in the back. Ready? All right, we're shaking off all that stuff that bothers us. We're shaking off all the disappointments, the frustrations, all of that. Just shake it off. It's a new beginning, like they say in bowling, new frame, new game. We're here today to get ourselves back on track, as I said, and we're moving forward. So let it all go. The past is the past. It's done. Let's lock into words of wisdom, moments of meditation, and get rejuvenated. Let's get over to Stan, the coffee man. And wait a minute. Oh, Stan has a little treat for the dog. Isn't that nice? No, Fonzie's not going to be happy, Stan. Oh, you got more for him. Okay. Stan, what do you got in a coffee pot? Hazelnut. Oh, it smells awesome. And yogurt. We have decaf again. Thank you, Stan. And we have fruits and dietetic Danish for people. Oh, just awesome. Beautiful cheesecake and fruit bowl. And all of this is sponsored by the Venetian over there on East Main Street. So if you want to go for a wonderful Italian dinner, head over to the Venetian. It's been there for years, and we want to thank them for sponsoring the dessert table. Let's get to our shout-out. First of all, Myron and the guys, it might be Mike and Bob down there at Toho Lounge. Guys, whatever you're going to do tonight, cancel it. Go down there. It's the best-kept secret in Torrington. Live music. Don't tell me you don't know the song. Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Fly Me to the Moon. You know the songs, okay? And they do them in the jazz idiom, we call it, they do it up, without a song, all those kind of things. So go there, listen, have something to eat. You can dance a little bit. They even have some guest singers. Maybe Jock Williams might be up there singing Night and Day. So check out Toho Lounge. Great place. Glad that that's happening down there. I want to thank Glenn Royal for the great car show that he did up at Goshen Fairgrounds in the middle of August. Jock and I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, but great fundraiser. They've been having that show for 45 years. They had over 500 cars, so a great cause. They donate money to scholarships, and Glenn Royal and his brother have Royals Automotive here in town. Great family, and they were really given the gift of loving old cars. Their father restored a Model A, I believe, and that was the spark. New Britain Symphony, Lady Boz and I attended that Friday in New Britain in the beautiful Walnut Hill Park. I tell you, folks, our Connecticut cities, I love the town greens. I love Cole Park Green and, Litchfield Green. They're beautiful. But don't forget our beautiful cities that have beautiful parks from back in the day. They have a beautiful monument there at Walnut Hill Park for World War I vets. Beautiful place, New Britain Symphony. They have a shell there. They were phenomenal. Lady Boz and I loved it. Everyone was treated to a great show, sitting on the lawn, eating well into the night. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And on my Facebook page, if you meet people along the way and they go, what's this? Words of wisdom, moments of meditation. What is this? Instead of getting into a long conversation, say, here's T-Boz's, Tommy Bozzy's Facebook site. The link is there, and you can tap on it. All the shows are there. Excuse me, and then the newest one will usually be at the bottom or the top, depending how your phone or iPad works. And you can do that now if you want to share the link. So go ahead and promote. And we just want to, again, welcome back Jock. I know he back from the Buckeye State, probably saw a lot of broken hearts out there when he was out there. But that's, what are they going to do? They didn't say yes, Jock. They're lost. But we're very grateful that you came back here to Connecticut. So today's show is going to be a little bit different, all right? You all have your pens and papers. It's not a homework thing, but you're going to be writing some things down so you can stay on track. Today's show is called Signs, okay? Signs from God. God gives us signs to guide us, to motivate us, to keep us on track, right? And so I've been wanting to do a show like this for a long time. A lot of the signs you're going to hear today are going to be about Lady Boz and I. And so there's going to be 6 stories. And the other thing that gave me the inspiration for this show is we had some great news in our family with my brother, and his story is going to be first. These are all very short stories, and then we're going to go through 5 of mine. So the stories are going to be Superman, okay, is going to be one. The next one is going to be 9/14. That's another story. The next one will be the motorcycle license plate. That will be another story. First date will be another story. We'll talk about that. And then the church seat is another story. We're going to talk about that. And then the last story that illustrates signs is going to be called the Western Shirt. So I'll introduce these as we go. So they're going to be 6 stories. One of them is not mine. That's going to be the first one. And so let's get rolling with our scripture where we start. We start with Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. And he says this, therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Boom. So here we have the creator of the universe, and 2 words I want to bring out there. Himself, you. We always talk about a God that is personal, and I don't care if you're Baptist, Catholic, Jewish, it's all the same God, right? So it's Islam, Muhammad. So the Lord himself. So when you're getting these messages and you're getting these signs of God, we have a God that created the universe that he himself is taking time out of his busy day, okay? And he's sending you. It's not saying he'll send, now it may come in the form of an angel. It may come in the form of, for me and Veronica, it's numbers and music is the things that speak to us, the tangible things on the side of the pond that we can relate to. But the Lord himself. So here we have a God that just doesn't let us go astray. He takes the time to talk to us. Questions people ask, does God send signs or give signs? The answer is yes. Okay, he does that. Why did he do that? Like I said earlier, to keep us on track, to motivate us, to end the confusion in our life. And again, he'll use tangible things that speak to you. Now, maybe numbers and music is not your thing, and that's fine, okay? But God will use things that speak to you so he can speak through them so that he can get your attention. And what kinds of signs, does God use? As I said, numbers, music, it could be sports, it could be a friend saying something to you. And it says, should we look for signs? The answer to that question is no. What am I talking about? All right. When you get into mystics and fortune tellers and palm readers, and, a lot of people go to these things, and the people say, oh, I can tell you're newly dating, and I can tell that you're a widow. Let me tell you something, folks. Those people are professionals. They can look into a crowd, and they know right away if it's your first date or you've been married for 30 years. And so when it says not looking for signs, we want to be alert in life, like Veronica and I are, and my brother, and I'll tell you his story in a second. We want to be alert but we don't want to be looking, because then we're doubting and then we're searching. So by being alert, the signs will come to us. But looking through those types of things, fortune telling, if you want to go to those things for entertainment, that's fine. But don't put all your eggs in one basket. Isaiah also says, chapter 38, verse 7, this shall be the sign, there it is again, this shall be the sign that the Lord will do this thing that he has said. Boom. So our Lord is responsible, our God is responsible, and so the word sign is all over Scripture. Let's go over to Gandhi. Now, Gandhi has this great quote, and I'm going to decipher it for you. And it says, mankind is notoriously too dense, I love that word, too dense to read the signs of God that he sends to us from time to time. So you're not going to get a sign every day, boys and girls. They're going to come from time to time when he feels you need it, all right? We require drums to be beaten into our ears before we should wake from our trance. Boom. What is the trance? The cell phone, the iPad, Walmart, the job, the career, the football game, the baseball game, all the things that we think are so important. That's the trance that we're in. But we think we need drums, Gandhi says, to be woken from our, and I love that, woken from our trance. And then it goes on to say, to lose oneself, the only way is to find oneself. So to lose oneself, you find oneself, and what Gandhi's really referring to is Matthew chapter 10, verse 39. Whoever comes to lose himself will find himself if he follows me. And it goes on from there. So a lot of these people that come up with these great quotes, if you trace it back, boys and girls, it all goes back to the Old Testament and the New Testament, all right? But Gandhi is so right. When we lose ourselves, we find ourselves. What is he talking about? Letting go. All right, get out of that trance. You know, be in a state of alertness for God's signs to you, for God's messages. And I love that when he says that notoriously dense. We are dense because we think that what we got to do and what we got to get done is so important. I got bad news for you. It's not. It should be done. The job should be done. You should go to the baseball game for your grandchildren. You should go. But you got to go with an open heart and open mind, and you got to be alert to hear the signs. If I wasn't alert, I would have missed the whole opportunity that I have with Lady Boz. So denseness, I love that. Trance, break out of your trances. Make time to be with the people you love. Make time to have dinner with that person, sitting across from you right now. Make time. Life is short. Trust me. Lycia Terricatus, it's hard to pronounce some of these names, Terricatus says, we want big directional signs from God, just what Gandhi said, but God just wants us to pay attention. Goes right back to what I said about going to palm readers and all that. We want bing, bang, boom. When you're looking for the boom, you miss the whisper. God speaks in whispers. So what Lysa says is we want a big directional sign, but you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You're going to find it in the small crannies of your life. Let's go with story number 1 called Superman. Now, my brother had to go, I'm not going to reveal, but he had to go for a test, a very important test for his health. We'll leave it at that. And he texted me and said, if the test comes back good, I'm going to send you a picture of Superman. My brother's a big fan of Superman. I know my friend Fred is. A lot of us who were 60 and above remember the great Superman TV show. So my brother said, if the test comes back good, I'm going to send you a picture of Superman. If the test comes back bad, I'm going to send you a picture of the Joker from the Batman series, right? So the night before the test was on a Monday. The night before the test, he and his wife go out to dinner, and they're coming out of the restaurant, and his wife says, oh, my God. He goes, what's the matter? He says, look at that license plate, Stephen. The license plate said Superman. The next day, my brother went for the test, and the test came back excellent. On my phone was the big S on Superman's uniform. What is going on? because my brother is alert. We go to the next verse here, and this woman really sums up Superman, and she says, and her name is Sunday Aladalja, and she says, of all of God's gifts and signs, they are useless if we do not have his love in ourselves. The reason why my brother and sister-in-law saw that license plate, why that appeared to them, if you will, is because my brother and sister-in-law love God. Isn't that interesting? Because it says the gifts and the signs are useless unless we have his love in our hearts, in ourselves. So there has to be the acceptance of a greater power, okay? And then if it's in ourselves, then instead of going to palm readers and whatnot, you will find these things. They will come to you. And so that Superman license plate came to my brother and sister-in-law at a time when they needed it. It's 11:30, Jock. Why don't we get to our other signs, our sponsors, and we'll keep rolling along.
Thank you so much, T-Boz. We appreciate it. And we thank you for tuning in to your local community radio station, WAPJ Torrington, listener-supported, volunteer-operated radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, bringing you quality community radio programming, such as what you're listening to right now, with words of wisdom and moments of meditation with T-Boz. And with that being said, we'll turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you, master of the airwaves. Story number 2, and it's called 914. Now, you're going to hear in some of the stories of mine a throwback or relation relative to my late wife and Veronica's husband, but it all comes together. So just follow along with me. Veronica and I, our philosophy is, it's very important to us to understand the people that were in our places before. In other words, her husband and my wife. Because my philosophy is the people that we have become have been in such a way formulated by those relationships. Okay, we just didn't pop out of thin air. And so her husband and my wife had a great part in forming the people who we are. So the woman that I love today, there's stuff in there, like the sauce, right? There's stuff in there that comes from her whole history, from when she grew up in England, right on when I met her at Nucci's in Bristol. And so I'm very interested because knowing the fabric of her personality, knowing how she coped with life as a married woman and a young mother and a grandmother and all of that, appeals to me because it gives me an insightful look into her life as to why I'm with her. So we enjoy when things like this happen. So here it is. This story is called 914. Follow along. You can write it down if you want. Veronica and Tim were married September the 13th. My late wife and I, Lori, were married September the 15th. So there's a day in the middle, right? The number is 14, right? Veronica and I, on a very early date, went to Lord's Shrine. And if you've gone through Lord's Shrine, you know there's the big cross with Jesus on it. It's up about 90 steps. You got to climb all the way to the top. We did. When we got up there, she wanted to put a memento in the walls stating that we were there. And as she was doing that, I'm looking at the cross. I'm looking around. I look down and I go, oh, my God. And she goes, what's the matter? I said, look at this plaque. She said, the plaque read, this monument rededicated September the 14th. So I said to her, you can't get any closer to 13 and 15 but 14, because 12's over there and 16's over here. But 14 is right in the middle. I said, and rededicated, we're starting our new life together, doing something new. I said, God is trying to tell us something that we're meant to be together, because you can't get any closer to 13 and 15 than 14. At the end of the day, Veronica said to me, I wish there was a word, Tommy, between like and love, because she had a 38-year marriage, I had a 31-year marriage, now we're on a new journey, and you don't know if it's love, if it's like, if it's a little before love. It's confusing, okay? Some of you who are still married, I hope you're never confused. But for those of us who are on the journey, it's a little confusing in the beginning. The Monday after the date, I read a publication called The Word Among Us, and the scripture for the day is Matthew chapter 18, verse 13-15. There's those two numbers again. But the author did his prose on verse 14. Boom, right in the middle. I called Veronica immediately. I said, Veronica, I found out what the word is between like and love. She said, what is it? I said, it's 14. Since that day, boys and girls, I cannot tell you how the number 14 has been in phone numbers, in her house address when she first home she purchased, in license plates that we've seen, in tables that we sat at for dinner, in bowling alley. It comes up again and again and again. We would have to do 3 shows for me to tell you all the 14s that we have seen. So for me, having God's love within myself, not being dense, okay, not being in a trance, I was able to see and share with her that plaque that we saw at Lord's Shrine that said this monument was rededicated on September the 14th. Not October the 14th, not January the 14th, September the 14th. Boom, right in the middle. So this is what we mean by being open and not so much looking, but seeing that God is sending you signs. I believe that God is saying, Tommy, this is the woman for you for the next go, right? I said to Veronica all the time, this is not dress rehearsal, okay? This is forever. So how do you know that you're getting some signs? When God is giving you a sign, you will gain clarity and not more confusion. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 7 says, think over what I say, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything. Bing, bang, boom. So here I am, a widow. She's a widower. We're starting something new after having long-term relationships. What do we get by looking at that plaque at Lord's Shrine? We get clarity. There's no more confusion. So when you're tense and you're not knowing where you're going, God is your GPS. The signs are there. But if you have God's love in your heart and you're not dense and you're not in a trance, you will see these things and they will help you as you go. God has designed that his signs would speak to everyone and would draw us closer to him. He has given countless signs to everyone to reveal his plan. So yes, so as Veronica and I and my brother are going through our new relationship, right, as these signs are coming to us, not every day, but they're coming to us, what is that doing? It's increasing our faith because we're saying, gee, you're nervous, you're meeting someone new, is it the right thing? But God is saying, Tommy, Veronica, Stephen, this is the way I want you to go. This is the path that I put before you. Okay. Here's another clues. If you're getting signs from God, if what you sense God said is happening in reality, well, it was happening in reality. I was standing next to this woman at Lord's Shrine. All right, and then if important events happen that you asked for or prayed for. So if you were praying for something and asking for something and something good, positive is happening in reality, not just in your head, then those are signs from God. Let's look at our next story, and it's number 3. It's called the motorcycle license plate. All right. Now, her husband had a Harley. They still have it. Her son has it. It's a Harley Davidson he bought just a year before he passed away. Good thing he didn't wait. Don't wait, everyone. And he enjoyed that for a year. So she said to me one day, do you want to see Tim's motorcycle? I said, fine. So we went in the garage. Now, write this down, boys and girls. My birthday is September the 18th, 9-1-8. 8. So we go into the garage. We're looking at the motorcycles. Wow, this is great. Beautiful. Beautiful seat, the handlebars, and all of that, right? Saddlebags. And she walks around the back, and she goes, ah, and she gasped. And I said, what's the matter? Did I say something wrong? I said the motorcycle was nice. She said, I never noticed this before. Come over here and look at the license plate. The license plate is 918, my birthday. Not 81919, and you had to twist it around. Exactly in the sequence that my birthday is. I took that as God saying through her husband, this is the guy I want you to be with. And it gave her a lot of security, too, in seeing that. And again, she never noticed it, but being open, she saw something that she wouldn't have seen if she was in a trance. We go to story 4, and it's called First Date. Now, this is how we feel that we should be together. And again, I'm going to use numbers and people's names, so you can write these down if you want. Her husband's birthday is August the 3rd. Veronica's birthday is July the 5th. So we have bracketed numbers with the number 4 in the middle. My late wife's birthday was March the 16th. My birthday, as I just said, September the 18th. There's a number in the middle, 17th. Same thing like with the anniversaries. The first date that Veronica and I ever went on was the 4th of June in 2017. Boom. You can't make these things up. These are signs from God telling us, and I'm sure all of you have had signs along the way. Maybe one day we'll do a show where you guys can send them in, a class participation. You can't make this stuff up. This, to us, to her and I, is definitely God's hand on our back guiding us in this new relationship. Woody Allen says this, if only God would give me some clear signs, like putting money in a Swiss bank account with my name on it. Don't we want clarity from God? Sometimes we are a little confused. Don't we want to really know what we're supposed to be doing? Don't we really want clarity like Woody Allen says? Don't we really want to find the money in the Swiss bank account, metaphorically speaking? But sometimes patience and waiting and trusting. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3, verse 5. So what Woody Allen is saying is what we all feel, right? But waiting and praying and not being in a trance, you'll see these signs and it'll guide you. Story number 5, and it's called The Church Seat. So I was a member of Sacred Heart Church over here when my wife was alive, and then when she passed away, we had her funeral mass there. And after that, I went to church every week. I was elected there, and I always came in the side door and sat in a pew because when I came back from communion, if I sat in another seat, I wouldn't know where I was, unless this seat was by the door and there was an empty space behind it. So one day I said to Veronica, would you like to see the church that I used to elect her in? Because they closed the church, unfortunately. Would you like to see the church I used to elect her in and where I had Lori's funeral mass and show you where I, did Eucharistic adoration, all this stuff? So she goes, fine. So we go to the church. And we're looking around. Oh, it's beautiful, before they closed it. And I showed her the altar, and I showed her the podium where I read, and we're walking through the church. And again, she gasped. She goes, oh, my God, Tommy. I said, what now? What did I do wrong? She says, look at the Station of the Cross. Now, those of you who are not Catholic, I think you understand Stations of the Cross are pictures of Jesus' passion. So she says, look above the pew where you sat. The station right above my head, I never noticed it, said Veronica meets Jesus. Oh. Now, that's not coincidence. There again was God telling us we're on the right path. Now, maybe for you guys listening, maybe it's a career thing you need signs for. Maybe it's something you're dealing with your children. Maybe it's something you're dealing with your spouse. Maybe should you buy a home, sell a home? Should you move to Myrtle Beach? Should you move to Maine? Okay. For us, it was very big in a new relationship. Some of you listening are also in new relationships, so you can understand what I'm talking about. Maybe some of you are starting a new relationship. Whatever the transitions in your life. Life is full of transitions, boys and girls. It's not going to stay the same. Change is inevitable, so are taxes. All right? But for us, the new relationship after coming out of widowship was very key. And having God reassure us that we're on the right path meant everything to us. To the church seat, that's a wonderful story. We look at Rumi, and he is a 13th century poet and an Islamic theologian. He says, be still and listen, okay? Because stillness is the language of God. Everything else is bad translation. Boom. What he's really talking about, again, Psalm 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. Most of us don't see the signs because why? We're in that trance. We're so busy running around. It's almost like asking your grandfather, hey, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. And as he's trying to tell you something, you're washing the car and you're vacuuming the thing and you're dusting the furniture and you're making the dinner and you're walking the dog. And all of a sudden you say, oh, I didn't hear my grandfather tell me anything. Well, how could you hear him telling anything if you're too busy doing things that are not important? Grandpa's not going to be with you forever. You need to spend time. Well, it's the same thing what Rumi is saying. Stillness is the language of God. Veronica and I were not talking when we saw the church seat. Veronica and I were not talking when we went up the Lord's Shrine. Veronica and I were not talking when she said, you want to see the motorcycle. We weren't busy with a bunch of things. We were in the moment, in the openness, in having God's love in our heart, that he was constantly speaking to us. And we like what he said. This is by an unknown person. Miracles happen all the time and are all around us. Signs from God show us the way. Angels plead for our attention. You know, the reason why some of us are not hearing this, and I keep saying this today a lot, is because we put a lot of things. You know, I had a Muslim guy say to me one time, he says, you know what the problem with you Christians? He said, you put all your concerns in the middle, and then you draw a circle with the word God. He says what Muslims do is they put the word God in the middle of the circle, and then they put all their troubles around it. Boom. You want to hear God's sign? When you draw the circle, put God in the middle. So miracles happen all the time. Here's the last story, and this is truly a miracle. One Valentine's Day, Veronica and I were getting ready to go to square dance, and she came downstairs, and she gave me as a gift what we call the Western shirt. You've seen them, very embroidered. It was black. It had nice piping, beautiful gold embroider on the back, and it's made, you know, for Western. You've seen Western people wear it, and we wear them at square dance, right? So she gives me the shirt for Valentine's Day. Now, I shared with all of you, when I got engaged to my late wife, I was in a band, and right after she said yes, she would marry me, the band, it just happened to be this, played the song by Journey, Just a Small Town Girl Living in a Lonely World, right? Don't Stop Believing. And I've always said when I've heard that song, that's God, my wife, trying to tell me something. So Veronica gives me this beautiful Western shirt. She said, you know, put it on. And so I put it on. And she goes, I'm going to go upstairs and finish getting ready. We'll go to the square dance. As soon as she walks up the stairs, boom, on the radio comes, Just a Small Town Girl Living in a Lonely World. Journey, the song. And I'm in the kitchen. I'm saying, what are you trying to tell me? I say, hon, what are you and God, what are you trying to tell me? That song, right? I couldn't figure it out. So we went to Mass before we went to the square dance. And I'm sitting in the St. Dominic's Church. I'm looking at the altar, big, beautiful stained glass window. I'm looking and I keep saying in my head, what are you trying to tell me? Why did that song come on right after I finished putting that shirt on? And boys and girls, I will go to my grave saying this. But I heard a soft voice, my wife's voice, to be honest with you, because God was speaking through her because he knows how to get my attention. And I heard her say, honey, you look handsome in that shirt. And this is your new life. Live it. Live it. My friends, there is a God, and he wants to speak to you. But you need to be out of a trance and not dense. You need to believe and have his love in your heart. As it says in Isaiah, I will send you a sign. And I heard that, and then I figured out why I heard that song. These things happen if you're open to them happening. Here's our takeaway quote from John chapter 1, verse 46. And we have a great song coming up. It's very simple. And this quote, actually this verse, is really about Nathanael telling all his friends about Jesus. But I want to turn it around for all of you and use this about your lives and maybe the things you hear on this show. And the verse, John chapter 1, verse 46 says, come and see. Simple. Come and see. What do you want them to come and see? Come and see Superman. Come and see the church seat. Come and see 914. Come and see the motorcycle license plate. Come and see the Western shirt. All of you out there have Western shirts. You have license plates. You have Supermans. You have them. And they're coming your way. That's the good news. So tell your friends. Tell your family. Come and see. Come and see. And then God will show them signs as well. Our mission in life is to spread goodness. One person at a time. Jock, you want to tie a bow and get to that great song?
Well, T-Boz, as always, you exceeded expectations. And I do believe that it's very imperative that people are aware that God is pretty old.
Yeah.
He's seen more, done, and I don't say he pejoratively. We don't understand everything there is to know about God, and nor should we claim to. However, if we tap into him, he will reveal himself to us.
Yes.
Or herself, or
right. You know,
we have to try the Spirit.
Yes.
And that's where the connection is made. And it can only be made, and this is why, and you refer to this, that still small voice. He speaks to us in many different ways, but one of those ways is that still voice. You could call it a conscience, but it's a little more than that, because your conscience doesn't speak to you in the ways that God does when he's confirming what he wants us, or what we looking or searching for. He is on that path. He is on that journey, whether we accept him or not. And that's the important thing. And he will amaze you if you let him, with how he ties in these signs. And he talks about that. He says, I will send you signs. But we have to be very cognizant of always being sure that we're proceeding and assessing the situation through his Spirit and in truth. So that's just very important to understand and to know in the process, so that we get the most from our relationship with him.
You're so right. And I love your line there where you said, if we let him. Our God, that goes back to free will, is not someone that's going to drag us like a caveman. If we let him, the choice is ours. He's there with the love and what we need. But you said it right perfectly. If we let him.
Yep.
You know what? You wrapped up in that one line what I've been talking about for a half an hour. But that's why you're the host of the show, and I do this. But I just want to thank you again for coming in today. I know it's not easy lately for you, but that is a good sign that you're here. And everyone, 211 is the for cooling centers. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. They tell you to do that. And but enjoy a little bit the heat, boys and girls, with a cup of iced tea or something, because October's around the corner, and the shorts and the tank tops and hanging out till 8 o'clock at night without a jacket are going to be coming to an end. So let's try to take a lemon and make it lemonade. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And let's get to the song. Thank you, everyone, for spending your Thursday morning with us. And I will be back next week, and we'll pick up where we left off.
Thanks, T-Boz.
Bye-bye.